Today I have the ultimate review on the KTC M27T6 versus the Koorui S2721PM. VA versus IPS. We'll be checking out both monitor menus, the wide viewing angles or lack thereof, that real difference between VA and IPS, and how you're going to have to give and take between both of these two technologies. But as you will find out, one will reign supreme and the other, in my opinion, is a sloppy mess. So let's get into it. Hi friends, welcome to Victor's Reality, showcasing display technology to help you make that awesome buying decision. If you do find this video helpful, please hit that like button so more people can see it, to not waste their hard-earned money, and consider subscribing if you like these kinds of videos. Liking and subscribing truly helps the channel. Thanks guys. On the left, here we have the KTC M27T6 and the Koorui S2721PM on the right. They both feature 1,152 local dimming zones, as they are both mini LED, but the major differences here is that the KTC is a VA panel versus the Koorui's IPS. Also, at HDR 1400 on the left versus HDR 1000 on the right. They are both Quad HD, and the thing is, the prices on these monitors are very good. You can find both of these monitors under $300. That is crazy. From a couple of years ago, you couldn't find that. And these are not budget monitors. These are above average monitors for the price. I will state this, so you're aware throughout the whole video. As you can see easily, the one on the left, the KTC, is a VA panel. The one on the right is IPS. And it's apparent that out of the factory, out of the box, the Koorui is in a much more better state with the display picture out of the box. I tried to get everything to look the same in color tone, saturation, brightness, contrast. Mini LED local power is both on medium. To each their own. You might want to lower it, you may want to higher it. The lower you go, especially on the IPS, the less zones will be dimmed. And the higher you go, sure you get better local dimming, but the whole picture does dim down a bit more than I would like. So just to keep it fair, they're both on medium. I have tested on both, on low, medium, high, and auto. And basically the algorithm, the dimming, works the same on both. I do want to state that both monitors feature a black equalizer option, especially on the M27T6. The default is at 10, so your miles may vary. You may want to lower it, though you'll be losing a little bit of shadow detail. And especially with VA, since you have more contrast, you don't want to lower it too much, as you still want an inky, contrasty, vibrant screen without the loss of shadow detail. Please keep your eyes on screen, as I will be noting certain situations. If I don't talk about it, I can put it up on screen with an arrow, like if brightness is clipping, or if shadow detail is lost, or if a certain monitor is focusing on a certain section of the screen. These are both two different technologies. They don't handle the same scene equally, so just please be aware. They're both great monitors, but you'll find out today, one is a tad bit better. As you can see in this picture with the desert, the Koorui looks amazing, while the KTC looks washed out. And that's something that you're going to see in these videos. In certain scenes, the IPS quality is much higher on the Koorui. The color pop, it kind of looks like the Koorui is a QD-OLED versus a WOLED on the KTC, if you get what I'm saying, coming from an OLED standpoint. Now these are the Quad HD versions. These two companies also make these monitors in 4K. But the weird thing is, Koorui, which does an excellent job in retaining the IPS panel, for whatever reason, KTC drops the VA and goes to IPS for the 4K model. So what you're going to see here in this video, to me personally, the KTC is an inferior model. Why didn't they use IPS like Koorui for both versions, the Quad HD and 4K? They stuck to VA for the Quad HD version. And to me, it's the inferior panel of this video. And again, you will be able to notice it as we go along. In this scene, with the sun in the background and the city skyline, and the city in view, you can easily tell that the Koorui is winning in color. Everything looks more inky, more vibrant. In this scene with the arcades, you can easily tell the Koorui with the IPS panel looks more vivid, and it looks a little bit more brighter in certain areas. And that's the thing, they're going to trade blows with certain peaks, certain brightness sections. I guess it has to be the algorithm between these two companies on how they use it. In certain scenes, each monitor holds their own, but you can clearly see here, the Koorui wins. Here with the car driving on the highway, the pinks, the whites, the saturation, the vividness, everything goes to the Koorui. Again, it's using a very good IPS panel. I can't wait to see the 4K version, but that's the IPS 4K version. I'm showing you here, for Quad HD they went with VA, which is a big miss on KTC's part. Do I recommend that monitor versus the Koorui? Well, you're gonna have to wait until the end of the video, but I guess you can tell which way I'm heading. Like I said, They trade blows. Look at the KTC here. Sure, the Koorui looks better color-wise with that IPS panel. But if you need that brightness power, these are on the same brightness 100 settings. The reason why I didn't want to lower the brightness power on the KTC is that if you do that with mini LED on, the whole picture dims. And it would be no contest. Forget about it. Forget about the KTC, just stick with the Koorui and call it a day. But I want to show you the differences, again, to help you make that awesome buying decision. Both are at 100, and the Koorui handles it perfectly, and the KTC is just sloppy. And mind you, this is an HDR, this whole video is an HDR. In my time of testing on both monitors, I did not see crazy blooming issues, haloing. Now mind you, on the Koorui you will see it more because it is an IPS, and I will be able to show you that. I'm not going to hide anything from you between these two monitors. Pick the KTC, pick the Koorui, it doesn't matter to me. I'm showing you the differences to help you make that awesome buying decision. I don't want anybody wasting their hard-earned money. I mean, I bought these two monitors for that specific reason, to showcase them. And from what I'm seeing, the Koorui is the one to get, under $300. Just mind you, you're getting IPS technology that in a sense, with dark areas or blooming, is inferior to VA. But the VA panel that KTC is using, I don't know, they should have stuck with IPS to compete more. Maybe they wanted that brightness advantage with VA. Maybe they're trying to get rid of their VA panels of last year. It could be, you never know. But as you can see, both look really good. Both vibrant and both colorful. Here with the purple petals and the water reflection, the Koorui wins all day long. You can see that brightness advantage though on the VA panel of the KTC, and in certain scenes it does come in handy. But again, overall, the Koorui wins. One more thing to note, on the left on the KTC, you can see how that brightness impact does look amazing. Everything is popping, but there's just too much brightness. If I lowered the brightness on this scene, the whole picture will dim. Then it would easily lose out to the Koorui. As you can see, it looks colorful and very vibrant. Let's check out a fireplace scene. Look how amazing both monitors look. This is probably the best scene to showcase both of them almost getting as close as possible to each other. Sure, the KTC is a bit brighter, but if you look at the embers, the reds, the oranges, that heated up area of the Koorui, it does look like it's popping off the screen. And this is Quad HD, so again, imagine what 4K is gonna look like. And here's the kicker before we get to ultra bright scenes. As I stated before, on the left we have HDR 1400, and on the right HDR 1000. For the 4K version of the Koorui, it does go up to HDR 1400, so it will be brighter, and the monitor style body just looks a lot better in my opinion. So I'm gonna just stick to Koorui from now on, either Quad HD or 4K. Now like I said, the 4K KTC has been making the rounds online, and it's getting good reviews, but because it's using the IPS panel, the same zone count, and with IPS, I'm showing you already what Koorui can do at Quad HD that KTC can't. KTC needs the 4K panel, which again, I hope you're understanding me correctly. I don't know why KTC used VA. They should have stuck with IPS. Here with the sun, look how bright the KTC gets. It looks awesome. The saturation, the color, the brightness, next to no blooming. I'm telling you, this is where this monitor shines. But it's very few and far between. As the image gets smaller, it retains its brightness power versus the Koorui. But again, this image that you're seeing here is few and far between. Here with the blue circle, you can see that the KTC is a bit brighter. And I would say that you can see a little bit more stars with the KTC. And the reason I believe is that the IPS panel on the right, at least on this scene, is not as vibrant, as vivid. On the top right corner, you can see the blue on the KTC, well, not so much on the Koorui. Here with the Earth and the stars, they both look equal. Sure, the VA panel looks more inky, more contrasty, but still, the Koorui with the IPS and the mini zone count can hold its own. Now check this out. Look at this ultra brightness power. This is the 1400 nits versus 1000 nits peak power on both monitors. I'll play it again in slow motion so you can see this amazing picture. I mean, it's way brighter on the KTC. You can see on the bottom on my desk, that orangish yellowish color, that color pop is popping on the desk versus the Koorui. Don't get me wrong, the Koorui looks amazing, but that's why I wish Koorui would have went to 1400 nits, just like the KTC, or just like the 4K version. But again, maybe they want you to upgrade. Maybe it's not possible in IPS at 1440p. But I can easily show you that difference here. The KTC wins. So VA versus IPS. What does that mean? Well, if I raise the ISO and I zoom in, you can clearly see it right here. With the moon, the one on the left is the VA panel and the one on the right is IPS. Remember, I do have this on medium. If you go higher on the Koorui, the grayish area will get a bit darker. But I wanted to show them on medium, to be fair, and show that technology difference, VA versus IPS. You can't run around it. This is what you're going to see. This is the real difference between both technologies. But like I've shown you before, you're not going to see a grayed out image. You're going to see inky blacks, really high contrast. But you do have to know what to expect with IPS. IPS is not OLED. IPS is not VA. It will never reach the contrast or vividness of a true really good VA or OLED panel. So please be aware and know the limitations of the technology that you're buying. Here with the local dimming test, you can see on the right the Koorui is brighter, and because it's IPS, it retains the picture image, while the VA on the left is already getting washed out, and that's what we'll be covering next, VA versus IPS with viewing angles. But they both have 1,152 local dimming zones, and they both work as such. Here's another example of VA versus IPS. Look at the right screen. While both look really clear and sharp, in this scene, where there's a lot of black in the background, the IPS panel doesn't have the technology of VA to get more contrast. So you can see right here, also with blooming in certain scenes. Remember, this is on medium. The KTC handles it a lot easier, a lot nicer. While the Koorui, because it's IPS, has more blooming. The Paris balloon looks pretty good on both, but look at the pH. It's overblown on the KTC. Here with the circus clown, the Koorui looks amazing. Right out of the box, it looks crystal clear, very bright, and minimal blooming. While the KTC is ridiculously bright. There is a tad more bit blooming, but I mean, what do you expect? It's ultra bright. That's why I'm saying I don't know if the algorithm is pushing too much brightness here. That's not needed. The Koorui handles it a lot easier. And with the KTC on the left, you will be seeing that from scene to scene. Some scenes look awesome. Then all of a sudden, 80-90% of the time, you're like, what the heck is this? It's too bright. The blooming is ridiculous. The color is washed. There's too many, I would say, algorithm problems. But again, I got these two monitors to look as best as possible next to each other. And still the Koorui wins over 90% of the time. And in a dark scene again, this is VA versus IPS. You gotta know your limitations. Here's another side-by-side. Look at the car. Look at the background. Look how washed the KTC VA looks. While the Koorui looks amazing, looks sharp, looks vivid. You don't need 1400 nits in brightness, as the 1000 nits on the Koorui is more than enough. Sure, I would want a brighter picture for that ultimate HDR look, but still, it's washed here on the KTC. Here, let's take a quick look at the menus. I do have these at 4K. It does accept the 4K signal, just so you're aware. But we got the game mode, brightness modes, display modes. Here with the HDR presets, on the Koorui at least. There's a couple of modes, but I just selected auto. I switched both, and they honestly didn't look, at least at impact perceived viewing, firsthand, it didn't look like it made much of a difference. So I'll just keep it on auto. And again, like the local dimming, I have it on medium. Here you can have color, your input selection, the scenario mode, and your settings for the monitor. Here with the KTC, here you have your display, the color, your gaming setup, advanced settings, the input, and the system settings. So there you have it, friends. This is my take, my review on the KTC M27T6 versus the Koorui S2721PM, showing you as many differences to help you make that awesome buying decision. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll get to it as fast as possible. From a brand standpoint, Koorui is really impressing me. From its OLED monitor of last year, to the GN10 VA panel 240Hz of last year, to now these new monitors in Quad HD and 4K, Koorui is really pulling ahead, and I hope they get more brand awareness because the quality that I'm seeing here is really that good, and the prices are even better. So friends, if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button so more people can see it so they don't waste their hard-earned money. Consider subscribing if you want more videos just like this one. Reviews, previews, gameplay videos, and everything in between. Only found here on Victor's Reality. Thanks for watching, friends. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time.